What does that mean for Nvidia later this month then? Since we own Nvidia, it's a challenging one. We have those three since it's one of our larger positions, along with Apple and Meta. It will rely on how that report is set up, in my opinion. There is an issue if all analysts are optimistic and believe that the statistics will continue to rise with all of this investment. A portion of this will rely on how logical they become. The good news is that, as a result of delays with their newest chip, the Blackwell, some experts have pushed out numbers in recent days. Some are also thinking about what they've talked about and what we've seen with some of the hyperscalers. Every time a business claims that underinvestment is the biggest risk, it brings to remember the declarations made in early 2022, before generative AI and ChatGPT were popularized. It goes without saying that investors don't want to ruin a fantastic tale. With generative AI, Nvidia's stock has performed admirably. However, large corporations like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon go through phases of digestion. Although it's quite obvious that they're spending a lot of money, ahead estimates are declining because revenues may not be there yet. They will eventually have to absorb part of this expenditure. What do you think about Alphabet in particular? The new Pixel 9 phones and their first AI-powered Android update were unveiled during the Google event. Alphabet's stock usually doesn't change with hardware, but today's messaging heavily featured AI. Well, Morgan, you need to ask yourself this straightforward question. Do you believe Google's more than 90% search market dominance will be impacted by all the money being spent on AI by companies like Microsoft and OpenAI? If you said yes, then Google is having problems in the long run. The fact that their YouTube business was struggling while Meta was doing well was concerning. Google doesn't appeal to me. To be honest, we don't have enough. I like Meta better because it uses AI to show interesting adverts and suggest movies you should watch. In that regard, it was a good pair trade because Meta had no problems. Does it make sense to invest in the other 493 stocks in the S&P 500 in light of this discussion? Is it reasonable to say that the Magnificent Seven's growth is slowing down and that diversification is necessary? Indeed, without a doubt. We began to get involved in other regions after observing a good sell-off on Monday of last week. We purchased companies in the financial services sector, a telecom services provider, and a basket of consumer basic stocks. Names that stand to gain in a number of ways if interest rates begin to decline. The Magnificent Seven has been the focus since late 2022, when ChatGPT and generative AI first appeared, and the other 493 stocks have been neglected. But by the end of the year, I'd be shocked if we didn't see 3 rate cuts, possibly 2, which will help some stock categories. What's causing such pricing reductions? Due to the deteriorating economy. Airlines, hotels, online travel agencies, and even a home renovation company, this morning, are all complaining about the slowdown in consumer spending. This prompts you to think about potential areas for rate decreases. Look at the other 493, then. Get your Nvidia keychain quickly for less than $10. We are offering the first 100 orders a huge discount. Investors' concerns about the return on investment for AI spending have caused Nvidia's stock to drop by about 6%. The stock has dropped almost 30% from its peak. Boris Schlossberg, the managing director of FX strategy at BK Asset Management and a CNBC contributor, is here with our trade. Boris, Nvidia may suffer if customers reduce their large AI expenditures. What's going on with Blackwell chips and all that is beyond me. We're all paying attention just because of the price action. How would you handle this stock? I believe it seems like PTSD to those of us who survived the dot-com bust. Is this another Cisco? Not in my opinion. AI still has a lot of opportunities, in my opinion, and Nvidia will gain the most from it. The third quarter will see the start of shipping for the Blackwell chips, which are still in great demand. It's certainly a fantastic opportunity at the moment, considering the turbulence they've experienced and the pullback from their highs. I would sell options against it and wait for it to come to me because of the volatility. For instance, you may purchase the stock at 13% less than its current price if a put expiring this week with a strike at 87 yields $1. Since Nvidia is still a good investment in the long run, if I were to position myself in the company right now, I would sell puts and wait for the stock to come to me. Over the past 3 trading days, the Magnificent Seven's poorest performers, Nvidia, Tesla, and Amazon, have all seen declines of 11% to 13%. Since the recent sell-off started last Thursday, only Meta has been positive. To find out if we're truly in full panic mode or if things will return to normal, I was going to wait to see some more statistics. It was encouraging to see that folks had come to their senses this morning and realized that an overcorrection is not caused by a single data piece. This is a good time to assess. As previously said, Nvidia will probably continue to lead the AI market. They're still a good option, but we won't see their key 3 projections until August 28. Amazon is also worth keeping an eye on, although I would be concerned about it if retail spending dropped. AI is also being used successfully by businesses like Uber, whose price and ride batching enhancements have increased profitability. Meta is a fantastic stock in that regard since they are thriving with open models, which enable them to collect more data and enhance the accuracy of ad targeting. Do you concentrate on specific fundamentals, or are you more concerned with wider valuation issues during times like these, when there may be currency or macroeconomic fluctuations? At the moment, it's about identifying which businesses will benefit from the AI revolution and searching for long-term prospects. Oracle is doing well. Microsoft is making money from app sales. Adobe is making money from AI software, and Palantir and C3.ai are established companies. Forecasts and sales growth are ultimately what matter. With its debt bubble and slowing population growth, China poses a macro threat that could follow Japan's example. However, the amount of jobs in the US is insufficient to depress the US market. Nevertheless, yesterday's sentiment was really harsh. Get your nvda keychain quickly for less than $10. We are offering a huge discount exclusively to the first 100 orders. Yes, let's continue the conversation here. There is plenty to explore regarding AI's long-term investment potential as we talk about Nvidia and the larger tech scene. Although the need for AI is propelling innovation and revenue, investors are wary since we are beginning to see doubts about whether this demand will continue to increase at this rate. Since Nvidia is the industry leader in GPU technology, which is essential for AI processing, the story has been overwhelmingly favorable. However, it's evident that the market's desire for unrelenting growth may be waning in light of reports of possible chip delays, as we discussed with Blackwell, and the start of corporations like Amazon and Microsoft to reevaluate their enormous AI expenditures. Ray, you pointed out that sentiment around tech companies may be made or broken by the macro picture, particularly in highly valued economies like the US. Do you believe that despite these valuation issues, Nvidia and other major AI companies are still worthwhile investments, or is it preferable to hold off until there is a more significant correction? This actually depends on the investor's time horizon, in my opinion. As markets adjust to the new interest rate environment, possible expenditure curbs, and the current economic cycle, there might be some volatility over the next 6 to 12 months. Nvidia and related firms are still important to long-term investors, particularly those who think AI will change many industries. In areas with distinct growth paths, you want to own the leaders. Therefore, while there might be a better starting point, if you look at it for 3 to 5 years, it might still be a good time to invest. Speaking of wider diversification, you noted a recent shift in emphasis on telecom, financial services, and consumer basics as we look beyond the Magnificent Seven. Do you believe that, in light of the current economic signals, the need for sectoral diversification is growing stronger? Of course. Because of their steady success, we've been paying close attention to the Magnificent Seven. Nvidia and technology advance, we observe some